Just so the tribunal is aware, this is the county's last witness. Good morning. Please try and speak up loud and clear into the microphone. Could you please state your name?
Violate Pena.
And Ms. Pena, you've been sworn previously, correct?
Yes.
Where are you employed?
Pasco Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Pasco County Sheriff's Office?
Patrol Deputy District.
The patrol deputy or sworn law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Cutting right to the reason that we're here on May 30th of 2023, did you respond to the tax collector's office in Land O'Lakes?
Yes.
And what was the nature of the call?
It was an unrelated guest at the tax collector's office.
I can't hear them.
And you may need to speak up.
Pull the microphone in.
Maybe pull the microphone up a little bit. Sorry. Again, the nature of the call?
It was an unwanted guest at the Land O'Lakes tax collector's office.
Okay. And upon responding to that location, what did you observe?
I made contact with Mr. Filax at the outside.
Okay. What about the appellant, Mr. Filax? Did you see him?
Yes, they were both walking out, or Mr. Filax was both walking out with his camera on a tripod.
Camera was on a tripod, you indicated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. After observing that, did you then make contact with Mr. Couette?
Yes.
And did you attempt to get a statement from Mr. Couette?
Yes.
Were there any distractions that prevented you from initially being able to get a statement from Mr. Couette?
Yes, both of them had approached when I was trying to get Mr. Filax's statements, but I was able to pull Mr. Filax to the side to.
When you say both of them, you refer to the appellant, Mr. Filax?
Correct.
And for the record, you see that person here in the boardroom today?
Yes, sir.
Please identify him based on where he's sitting in an article of clothing.
Is a front seat in a white shirt, gray pants.
And all these events took place in unincorporated Pasco County, is that correct?
Correct.
So did you, from Mr. Couette, collect a written letter of trespass initiating the trespass?
Yes, after I spoke with everybody to get everybody's side of the story, he later provided me with a written statement.
Did you also collect, what you said, you testified that Mr. Couette provided you with a written statement, so if I'm placing in front of you what's been remarked for identification purposes as County's Exhibit I, do you recognize that?
Yes, sir.
Does that fairly and accurately depict the written statement that you collected from Mr. Couette that day?
Yes, sir.
At this time, the county would seek to introduce Exhibit I into evidence. I think you're right on.
Is there perfectly these will be admitted as county's 9.
And based on the statement you collected from Mr. Couette, both the verbal and written statement, did you in fact determine that the appellant had been recording inside the tax collector's office?
Yes, sir.
And did you also observe the tax collector's policy that was posted outside?
Yes.
And based on your investigation, did you make a determination that the appellant's conduct violated that policy?
It was, we trespassed them based on the ordinance, the Pasco County ordinance.
And the ordinance requires a violation of a posted sign of the policy, correct? Did you determine that a posted sign of the policy was violated? No. That request came from staff of the tax collector's office, correct?
Yes.
They initiated, requested that you issue a trespass?
Yes.
Okay. And is part of your investigation, do you conduct a legal analysis of the policy for its merits and its strengths and weaknesses?
As far as what?
Well, let me answer it this way. You're not an attorney, correct?
Correct.
So your job is not to determine if the posted policy is good policy or bad policy, correct?
Correct.
You just need to determine if it was violated.
Correct.
If somebody wanted to challenge the policy, there would be other ways of doing that.
Correct.
So based on your investigation, did you issue a written trespass warning to the appellant, Mr. Filax, on that day, May 30th, 2023?
Yes.
Showing you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes, this exhibit J. Does that fairly and accurately depict the trespass warning that you issued on May 30th, 2023?
This is not the amended one.
So I'm talking about
Yes,
that
yes.
day. That day at the tax collector's office. County would move exhibit J into evidence as exhibit 10.
This will be admitted as count as 10.
And did you also inform the appellant verbally that he was being trespassed and not to return to the property?
Yes.
And prior to leaving the property, did you make sure that he leaves?
Correct. Yes.
As far as that day is concerned, did that conclude your investigation?
For that, I had to come back for video evidence regarding that case, but other than that,
What was the video evidence?
it was video of him in the tax collector's office.
Did you later learn that there was an issue with the trespass warning that you issued on May 30th?
Yes.
And what was that issue?
At the top section for the address, it needs to be placed in a different section of the form, and I need to update his address to be on my
So essentially, it sounds like you're saying you put the address of where he was trespassed from in the wrong section of the
Correct.
form. Okay, based on that, did you issue an amended trespass warning on June 9th?
Yes.
And did that trespass warning specify the address where he was trespassed from?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked for identification purposes. It's County's Exhibit K. Does that fairly and accurately depict the amended trespass warning that you issued on June 9th?
Yes.
At this time, the county would seek to introduce Exhibit K into evidence. It's Exhibit 11.
Be admitted as count as 11.
And how did you make sure that that amended trespass warning would be delivered?
So through my supervisor, they had to do it through the mail.
Was it certified mail?
Yes.
Okay, and county would seek to introduce pre-marked as Exhibit L as a copy of the certified mail receipt.
Can I object to that as I didn't sign for that?
You object to the,
I did not sign for that, no. Because if I was there and I knew they were sending me something, I would send it right back just like Anthony did. So it wasn't accepted by me. It wasn't served to me. I did not sign for that.
okay. Do you object to the green card being entered, signed by somebody else?
I do object. It has nothing to do with me, that receipt right there. It wasn't me. I didn't sign it. If it was me, I would definitely send it back. And according to Mr. Bounty, then I wouldn't have been served the second trespass. I have that on video if you'd like to hear it.
Would you agree that you did get a copy of the amended trespass?
Well, it was handed to me out of my control. If I was there to sign for it, I would have said, no, thank you, return to sender, and I would have never even been in this proceeding right now.
All right. It'll be admitted as count as 12.
Yeah, I just for the record, it's only being admitted to show that he did receive it. He's obviously not contesting that fact. He filed it.
You
Well, I
thought,
wouldn't have, because I didn't know what it was.
No further questions, McKenna.
you have any questions?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Are you?
Prefer Viana or Miss Pena? Miss Pena. You said you saw a video of what we were doing inside of the tax collector's office?
Correct.
And what did you see on that video?
You walked in with Mr. Huffman. I see you set up your tripod by the gatekeeper.
Mhm.
I see you engage with verbal contact with other people and the tax collector's office.
Did you watch from beginning to end?
Yes.
From the time we entered till the time we left?
Yep.
Okay,
From the clip of the gatekeeper, yes.
okay. So we walked in, we spoke to the receptionist, correct?
From what I can see, yes.
Yeah, and then we stood to the side, correct?
I see you stand like right there by the gatekeeper.
Right to the side. Here's the desk where the gatekeeper is. She's got window partitions, right? And I was just standing there, like she told me to do. Okay, and then Mr. Huffman was right here in front of me, right? Which one of us was recording?
Sorry, can you repeat your answer? I couldn't hear.
The question?
I couldn't hear her answer.
To which question?
Where you were or Mr. Huffman were?
Where was I standing?
Right in front of the gatekeeper, like the desk area.
In front or to the side? The front is here where the
Well, it's at an angle, the gatekeeper,
So
so
we-
it's like right here.
We walk in, I already have my tripod opened up, ready to, all I have to do is sit it down, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
We walk in, you speak to the gatekeeper right here, lady behind the glass receptionist, right?
Yep.
We're here to speak to Mr. Goet, we have these papers for him. No problem, just give him a minute, he'll be right out. And then we move over here to the side, right next to her. It's already set up, I just put it down in front of me.
Objection, haven't specified.
You know, you're that.
Did I just put my tripod, set it in front of me?
As far as I know.
Is everything I've said so far accurate?
As far as I know.
Was Mr. Huffman standing in front of me?
I believe he was standing like parallel to you, from what I can recall.
Not in front of me?
She answered.
Okay, so, did you see any kind of flailing, yelling?
I just see you interact with multiple different people.
Oh, that's my
but
question.
I can't testify for recording because there was no recording on the video.
So no audio? So you didn't get to hear the context of what was going on?
Correct.
You don't know that I was threatened?
No.
You don't know that the gatekeeper told me to wait right here?
Correct. I didn't hear no audio.
So
Or
all
I
you-
wasn't advised of it.
So all you saw was us walking in, speaking to her, standing next to the thing?
And engage with multiple.
I'm saying before that.
Before what?
Before anyone engaged me, all we did was walk in, ask her about handing documents over, and stood next to the gatekeeper's desk.
Yes, I saw you guys standing next to the gate, or right there by the gate.
And how much time had passed by?
I don't know. I can't.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah, I watched the video.
Approximately
Yeah,
how
I
much
can't
time passed by from the moment we stood here to the moment people started engaging me?
I don't recall the time.
You don't recall? Well, if I said 10, 15 minutes, would that sound about accurate?
Again, I can't recall.
Do you recall how long the video was?
No,
Was it more than a half hour?
I cannot recall the time.
Was it less than a half hour?
She's answered the question.
Not recall the time.
Not even approximately.
No, there was multiple video footage that I watched
Okay.
from different angles of the facility, so I can't recall the specific time that you're asking.
Now, when you say I was talking to people, did I approach anybody?
I saw multiple people come like throughout, so I don't know if they approached you or if they were just standing there. I saw you engage.
Did I move from there?
I saw you, there was one that you were turned towards another person talking. It was a lady.
Oh, you mean like this?
Well, it was kind of further towards her. But like I said, from that video footage from when it started.
Was it
all
the
I saw
lady
was
sitting in the
conversation.
second row, almost the second last seat? She was
I can't
about,
recall.
would you say she's about 10, more than 10 feet away from me?
Again, I can't recall specific
Right.
measurements.
So you saw me like this, and then when I was talking to her, I turned and talked to her.
So I didn't see you.
Did I go like this to her?
I didn't physically see you turn. From different video footage, it will start at different times depending on what the video footage was sent to me.
Did I approach her?
I cannot recall that.
So I spoke to her,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but you don't know if she spoke to me first,
Correct.
and you don't know if I spoke to her first.
Correct. All I saw was you having conversation with other people.
Conversations with other people. Okay. So you saw, but you didn't hear.
Correct.
So you're assuming we were speaking to each other.
I saw you engage with other people.
Engage in what form or fashion?
Communication.
If you can't hear the video, how do you know it was verbal?
Well, I would
So you're assuming.
yeah, I would assume that you were talking because of the conversation between two of you.
Between who?
You and multiple people that were at the tax collector.
You heard a conversation?
No, I never said I heard a
So
conversation.
you haven't heard any conversation.
No, but I can make.
But you're
the
saying I was
assumption
talking to
that
people.
Two people were talking.
And what gives you the notion that they were talking and what they were talking about? How do you know they were talking if you didn't hear anything?
I can see people's mouths moving.
Okay. So you saw my mouth moving on video and you saw another person's mouth moving on video. Okay. Is that disruptive somehow?
I don't know what the conversation was based on.
Foundation, speculation.
And what's the issue with me speaking to people?
Objection. She doesn't
I
work for
agree,
the
it's the same
tax
objection.
Am I allowed to speak to people?
Objection. She doesn't work for the tax.
Okay. Do you swear an oath to the Constitution?
As far as what are you talking about?
The United States Constitution of America. The Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
I swore an oath to the Pasco Sheriff's Office, yes.
The Pasco Sheriff's Office.
Yes, when I was sworn in, yes.
That's not what I asked, ma'am. Did you swear an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution?
Yes.
You did. Do you know any of the Bill of Rights?
I mean, the first 10, what do you mean by that? Where-
What is the Bill of Rights?
I'm sorry.
That's irrelevant.
I'm gonna sustain, you don't need to answer that.
I'm sorry, sir.
She doesn't need to answer that, it's not relevant to this.
Well, she swore an oath to the First Amendment.
I'm finding it's not relevant.
Free press is not relevant in this
It's
case?
not relevant to why we're here today.
Well, I was engaged in free press, and I believe I was trespassed for engaging in free press. She swore to uphold the free press that I was engaged in.
I've not heard any testimony that you were trespassed for engaging in free press.
Was I doing other than speaking and video recording?
Repeat the question.
You believe I was speaking to people? You don't know?
From what I viewed on
Okay.
the footage.
You don't know if it was me who engaged them or if it was them that engaged me, correct?
Correct.
And you think I'm recording why? Why do you believe I was recording? What evidence do you have of that?
Speculation. She has no personal knowledge of any of this. She wasn't there.
What do you believe I did to disrupt business?
Objection. She's not testing.
I sustain, she,
I'm misunderstanding. I apologize. What am I getting wrong here?
it's up to the tax collector's office to determine if you're disrupting
Okay.
their property.
Does the trespass ordinance hold the same weight in private property as it does in public property?
Objection. Legal conclusion.
Did you trespass me by 159?
Say it again.
Did you trespass me under 159?
That's the answer.
I asked that already?
She testified that you trespassed pursuant to the county ordinance.
Okay. Have you read the county ordinance?
I'm sorry.
Have you read the county ordinance? Did you read section 7 where it says, First Amendment rights? Do I need to quote it exactly? Will it help?
He's confusing that with it has to do with your authority over his future First Amendment rights, regardless of the outcome
Future?
of this hearing.
Should I read it in the record or?
Yeah, that the special magistrate shall have continuing jurisdiction to consider and authorize a respondent to enter the public property 2 weeks after this hearing.
Right. So after this hearing, you'd have the right to allow me to go back in there for First Amendment, the exercise of my free press rights. That's what they made me leave for. I did nothing other than exercise free press rights.
We'll get to the arguments.
Okay, so how many deputies were there?
Let's see. Approximately 3.
It was you. Who was your field training officer? Roan? Was Schrock there?
Or FTO Schrock, he, I believe, came later.
I don't know if he's the FTO. Yeah, him and another lady. Who was the lady who was there? Okay, and then was Sergeant Shuck there?
Correct, yes.
And he's your supervisor, right?
Not my direct supervisor, but yes, he was supervisor.
Did I try to report a crime to you guys that day, and you all ignored me? Did I try to report a crime to you that day?
I cannot testify.
The relevance is they're trespassing me and threatening to put me in a cage if I don't stop exercising my rights. The relevance is I believe Tim Coeb made a false report. I have video evidence of it, and I tried to report it to 5 deputies that day, and they said, just get out of here. You're going to get your case. They weren't willing to take that report, and again, it shows bias towards the government agency versus the people.
All right, well,
Did I try to?
That was never reported directly to me, so I can't attest to.
If I showed you video that I said it directly to you and your field training officer, and he said, we're ignoring what you're saying, would that refresh your memory?
No, I don't see the relevance of that. If I'm telling you that you didn't directly speak to me, I can't attest.
I'm telling you I did.
I'm telling you
So you didn't hear me trying to report a crime for 10 minutes?
No, I was trying to get interviews with Mr. Collette.
So your main focus was to get me out of there and not worry about the crime that I wanted to
My
report?
main focus was to get what happened. So that's why I was trying to interview each one of you.
And what happened is we walked in and stood still and spoke to some people.
I've already answered that.
Okay, just confirming. Do you take your oath to the Constitution? Well, you didn't even realize you took an oath to the Constitution, so I think that answers itself. Are you ever told to do something you know is wrong and do it anyway because your supervisor said to do it? Was the video policy posted on the wall that day?
Say it again.
Was the video recording policy from their website posted on the wall that day?
There was a policy that was posted on the front door, yes.
Okay, what about inside?
I did not see inside.
Is the policy that was on the front door the same policy as their video recording policy from the website?
I don't recall.
You don't know if they match each other?
No.
You know that that sign is gone now? Mentioning the Driver Protection Privacy Act.
Not until today.
Did you trespass me according to the Driver Protection Privacy Act?
No, I trespassed you based on the county ordinance.
And the reason cited was, the trespass that was rescinded, you're saying the procedural error was that you put the wrong address in the wrong place. Just like kind of like a typo, you just put the wrong address.
Correct. It was supposed
Do
to
you remember the form you used that day?
I'm sorry.
Do you remember which form you used that day to file that trespass?
Not a specific form, not what's talking about now.
Generally speaking, what form did you use?
It was a trespassing.
Trespassing form? Give me a second to find this form here. Okay. Can I show this to her?
Yeah, yes. Can add it to counter first.
Hmm?
I think it's in evidence already.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
Yeah, this is evidence. This is a PSO form.
Is that the first trespass one?
Yeah, that's the one that was rescinded. PSO 338.
Yeah, you can show it.
Okay. This is the form you used. This is your writing. This is the form you filled out.
Correct.
Okay. And if I can show you here, let's see. You see down here, it says, if you read right there, it says PSO number 30338, revised December 2018. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, you can see that. So 2018 was the last time this was revised. Not,
Since there's no personal knowledge of that.
it's written right on the form. She does now. Do you see right here where it says county policy posted, where I have it highlighted?
Yes, I see.
And you're saying I violated video recording policy of location. You wrote that, right? Violated video recording policy of location.
Whatever the amended one was.
Let's stick with this one first. This is the rescinded version. Because there's a difference. This is you wrote this.
Correct.
Okay, and it was last provided December 2018. And you see where it says county policy posted, correct?
Correct.
Now when this new form, is this the same form? You amended, there's your amended one.
I don't know if they're the same form. I know this is
You
the.
want to see them
amended
side by
one.
side? Here you go.
I don't know.
So you know that it's a different form or the same form?
I don't know.
You don't know if these two forms are the same?
I don't recall. I don't see the relevance of that.
You don't see the relevance? Do you see when this one was revised, 2018? Do you see when this one was revised? June 2023, right in the middle of my trespass?
I'm not aware of the forms changing.
Who does the changing of these forms?
I'm gonna be able to tell you.
So you understand this is not the same form as it was? It was revised. You know what revised means?
Yeah, I understand.
It's changed.
I was not aware of that.
And you see on this one it says, county policy posted. And in June, after I was rescinded, in June, the same document, other than the date of revision, they put /policy posted. You see that? This one just says county policy posted, this one says policy posted.
And I was not aware of the forms changing.
But you see now that they're different on each other.
Yes.
Okay, and you weren't aware of that when you filled out the new one.
Correct.
And where did you get this form from?
My supervisor provided it.
Who provided you the rescinded one?
I cannot tell.
You don't know where you got this form?
That was from my FTO.
Your SDO gave you
And
this
it
to
was a
fill
physical
out?
form. It was a physical form, yes.
So, and who gave you this one to fill out?
I was sent by a supervisor
A supervisor, where did you fill this out?
through, you can fill it in online.
Okay, you don't know who changed the document from
I
the...
know.
So, just to be clear, this document says one thing, this one's revised after right after I was rescinded here, trespass on the 30th. The very next month, probably early on, it had to be before the 9th, this form was changed to include policy posted. You see an issue with that at all?
I see that the forms now that you've made aware that the forms were different.
So you see that they're different,
Yeah, I see that the
and you
forms
just didn't know that when you were filling it out.
did not.
Okay. And you don't recall me trying to report a crime?
It was not directed towards me. I already answered.
You already answered that.
Okay. See what else we got here. Do I have the right to be in public places?
Objection. The second issue with Mr. Poet, she's in no position to speak to, is the tax collector's office private property, is it a public forum, is it a semi-public forum? She would have no basis or foundation to provide that.
So where this line of questioning is going,
What?
whether the lobby is.
Well, if you keep saying legal conclusions, their job is to make legal conclusions. I conclude that this gentleman's speeding, I'm gonna write him a ticket for it, right?
We're not arguing about the law. My question is that where this line of questioning is going? Whether the lobby of the tax collector's office is a public place or not?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying the objection.
Okay. Can I record on the sidewalk?
Objection for the same reason. Asking her to conduct a constitutional analysis of different public forums.
Am I allowed to be in public? Is that a legal conclusion?
So not relevant.
It's not relevant? Your Honor?
I haven't even decided on the person I'm thinking about.
Okay, go ahead.
So, she can answer that.
Am I allowed to be in public?
Yes.
Is there certain things I'm allowed to do while I'm in public?
As far as, I mean, that's kind of a vague question.
Yeah, you gotta narrow it.
Okay, am I allowed to use my cell phone in public?
As far as I'm aware.
Is using the camera function of the cell phone lawful activity while in public?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay, have you ever arrested anyone for recording in public?
I'm not.
Have you ever arrested anyone just for simply being in public?
No.
Some other action has to occur, right? Some illegal action would have to occur in order for you to have jurisdiction over an individual, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a difference between public property and private property?
I think you're going down the same road here.
What's that?
Of whether the lobby was public or private.
Well, the reason, Your Honor, is because almost every cop coast to coast believes that a government building, anyone who's authorized to run that place can just, at a moment's notice, say, you're out of here for any reason. Or in fact, a McDonald's, they could say, I don't like John's shirt. They don't even have to give you a reason. I just don't want John here. And the cops can say goodbye. Whereas,
That's not what we're here on today. We're here on the day that they determined that you were violating the policy
right.
that they had in place, and that's what they asked you.
And I'm here to appeal that the policy is infringing on my right to be in public, my right to assemble, my right to gather content in matters of public interest. I'm sorry?
That's not why we're here today. If you have a problem with the policy, there's other avenues you can take, filing civil action.
I've tried. Mr. Kouet is uncooperative.
He's uncooperative to file a lawsuit against them?
I'm not to file a lawsuit, but why do we have to file a lawsuit and come out of our pockets for something that's such a, in the spirit of the Constitution and the core principles of this country?
We'll get to the argument.
All right. Okay.
My point is,
Okay. I'm with you. Okay, young lady, thank you.
All right, so it's your chance now at this point to testify yourself or to call witnesses. Or both. I would ask that you do this in some type of order.
Some type of?
Testify, call witness, testify, call witness. Like, call your witnesses and then you testify at the end, or however you want to do it.
I'm just going to testify myself.
Okay.
Again, we're civil rights activists. Without the First Amendment, the government can do whatever they feel like.